Swerve, it's Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. This is Sparta. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Sedrick, Swerve, and Irvin.
Hit him with the swerve. Hit him with the swerve. Hit him with the swerve. Straight dog, what's going on, baby?
Hey, man, I'm living. Everything's good. How you doing, man? Tell me, it's not about me. It's about you. It's about our special guests, and most importantly, about Spartan Nation and beyond.
Football.
Lots of
That's all I can tell you. I'm so happy it's football. We got football from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday just to regroup, to do it again, all the way to February. I'm the happiest person alive, straight.
Oh, it's love. This is the time of year that everybody, you start the hairs on the neck, back of your neck start to stand up a little bit because it's exciting. You know, we get to see what the new team is going to look like. Whoever your team is, you know who our team is. And, you know, we get to see, you got a special drone footage from your one and only Swerve that can tell you what's going on behind the scenes at practice in East Lansing. But Swerve, listen, we got to let everybody know if this is your first time joining us, we want to welcome you. If this is not, we thank you for your loyalty. And please do not forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. Doesn't cost you a thing. It helps us out a whole lot. And let us know where you're watching from. Hey, listen, nobody does it like Woody in Aloha State of Hawaii. He did it again. You know, he's talking about this CP time and Chat GPT. I don't know what he was saying, but we got him locked in. He was number one once again on the board.
That's Mercy.
Mercy.
Woody Mercy Carr.
Yeah, a lot of mercy going on there, especially if you follow Woody. Please follow Woody if you get a chance. Facebook, you know, Instagram. I mean, it's a treat. You know, when we're lucky enough to do a live show out in Hawaii. It's going down. That's all I know. Swerve, man, let me tell you something. We have a jam-packed show. We got to talk about what's going on in behind the scenes in football. But first, before we get into it, we got a couple things, house cleaning items, but these messages we have to listen to from our friends over at Gray Matter Exchange.
Great Matters.
Just like a bad player can cost your team the game, overpaying for shipping can cost your business. Gray Matter Exchange, your all-star team for shipping savings, will help you score big with up to 30% savings on your UPS and FedEx costs.
Gray Matter Exchange, one hell of a partner. And Swerve, when we talk about what's been going on this summer, you know, it's been a little slow, but we had a little bit of money ball situations going on. And Michigan State point guard Jeremy Fears and center Carson Cooper and the team TriStar Trust won the 2025 Moneyball Pro-Am Championship this past Thursday.
You know, that's a beautiful thing, man, for those guys to stay active in the off season and to play in that tournament, man, right there in your backyard and play against some good competition. You know, a lot of people play pickup ball at the LA Fitness or the old high school, but those guys are playing against guys that's overseas, old time legends, upcoming high school players. So that's some good work, man, and I'm proud of those guys.
Jeremy Fears looks to take over the controls at the point guard position. Carson Cooper been there a while. Big man in the middle that's showing some athleticism, looking like they're going to be calling on them to run the ball a little bit more up and down the court. That's how basketball is turned now. Speed and three, you know, like that football game has changed a bit. But moving on to our women's soccer team, preseason praise. Michigan State women's soccer debuted at number 12 for the soccer coaches preseason national poll, the highest preseason ranking in program history.
Straight, that don't shock me at all. You know what? Why? Because it's just something about them sports. You know, if it ain't hockey, if it ain't basketball, women basketball, gymnastics, I mean, we're gonna be ranked in the top 25 all across the board. You know, so shout out to the girls soccer team. Let's get it. Let's keep going. Let the ball keep rolling and kick the damn ball in the net.
That's all you got to do. Get on that pitch and do what you're supposed to do. Congratulations. That's the highest honors they've ever received in preseason. Let's see them finish the season strong after they get it started. Also, on the football field. Pin them deep. For the second year in a row, Michigan State punter Ryan Eckley has been named to the preseason Ray Guy Award watch list.
Hey, once again, those guys did a hell of a job of recruiting. I'm excited. So at the end of the day, we're going to have more guys on the watch list because those guys, I'm telling you, when you see this drone and you see how those guys been working, ooh, I'm going to Vegas.
Oh, yeah?
I'm taking it.
You taking them?
I'm taking
what
it.
Is it?
We winning 6. You said 5.5, right?
5.5. That's the line.
Yeah. I'm taking.
Okay. Because we got to talk about this, in a couple of weeks here. We're going to get into what we look at the record to be. We're going to go game by game, you and I. Probably going to get Corey Robertson on here to do that same thing like you did last year. We're going to pick them.
But can we say who won?
Yeah, who won it last year?
But what I'm saying, straight, you got all these people that do fantasy, they get trophies, they get tattoos, everybody who win the fantasy bowl and all that. I wanted to pick out of me, you, and Corey. All I'm asking for, some cigars. You and Corey can get together, chip in $20 a piece. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, all I do is win, baby.
We got you, baby. We got you. You did win it last year. That's great. I mean, you did a wonderful job. And you talk about guys on the watch list, though. My nephew, man, Swervin Jr. Cedric Irvin Jr. is on that Doak Walker watch list out there in Stanford. Listen, I know this isn't what are they in, the ACC now? I don't understand. And Stanford is in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but listen, he's on the Doak Walker Award list. Get it from his daddy. Congratulations.
You know what? When I saw that in the group text with me and his brother, and even though I was in your presence, I had to turn away because I had a little, Swerve don't cry, but I had a little, I had a moment straight because I was once on the Doak Walker Award list twice, but for him to have that and then you gotta understand they didn't give him many carries, and we'll always tell him, man, I'm always praying for you, but just handle your business. You know what I'm saying? You're a blessed kid. You got the talent. Just take advantage of your opportunity, man. So you didn't see me when I showed you, but when I turned away, I had something in my eyes because you had the window down and
it was the onion. We was
yeah, man. I just had a proud dad moment, man. Usually, I try to keep that stuff in because I'm a tough guy, but man, yeah.
You don't have to be tough when it comes to your kid, man. Listen, he chose a great institution to be at. He's thriving over there. He looks like he does go to class. He didn't go around the class. He go to class at Stanford. Already graduated, right?
But the thing about it, Stray, I tell him, don't do as I did, do as I say. Who
would have thought Swerve would have scholar athletes, for real, scholar athletes. Congratulations to him.
Hold on.
There it is right there.
Hold on, Stray. Hold on. What you mean, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? How many times you on this show? It's documented now. We can go back, 100 shows deep and talk about how I ain't go to class. Oh, what's that word? I don't understand all of it. Come on, man. And now you got a kid at Stanford thriving like that. I'm proud of you, man. That's great.
But see,
it shows everybody that you're full of shit when he talks about all that. You don't go to class and you don't know big words. But go ahead.
But the difference between me and my son's situation is he didn't have to face 20 degrees in April and snow all on the ground. He didn't have to walk, the Timberlands and those boots and the jackets. He didn't have to wear all that over there. So it was a mental thing for me. I just figured if I stay in my room, I don't have to worry about catching a cold, and I can be ready for Saturday, So I had to make a business decision. But I paid for it, I had to go back later and go get it. So it all worked out.
It all worked. He was able to go to a nice climate up there in California and go to class, being from Miami and Atlanta. So that was good. That was a good choice for him. But listen, you got to be tougher. Get to class. I don't care. Youngsters, go to class no matter what. We're going to talk about how it was. We can always talk about how it was when we played. But our special guest, he's going to talk about how it was back when he played as well. The guys go to class. Did you guys do the things called two-a-days in practice? They don't. That's gone. That's a figment. That's something of the past. They don't do them anymore. Did you guys hit a lot? with full pads? Did you guys lift hard? Did you go heavy? Things that they don't do anymore, Swerve. But, we're going to get into that. But first, Spartan fans, make their NIL gifts charitable with Charitable Gift America. Spartan fans, it's a win-win for your dogs if you partner with Charitable Gift America for your donations. You can even direct them to a Spartan athletic programs of your choice. Receive Spartan Fund points for your gift. To find out more about supporting Spartan athletes while also investing in your future, please visit cgamerica.org today. So we're going to get to our special guest right after these messages from our friends over at IHOP.
$6 never tasted so good. IHOP's Breakfast Babes combo is now just $6. Featuring IHOP's world-famous buttermilk pancakes, crispy hickory smoked bacon, and 2 eggs cooked to order your way. All for just $6. Part of the new $6 House Faves menu.
Swerve, I mean, you are, man, I've been hanging around you a lot with the IHOP coupons. I mean, man, you've been strong. You've been handing them out to people because you're not eating the pancakes anymore. What's going on with you?
Well, it's football season, so I'm on a diet. I'm a month in and doing pretty well so far. It's tough, especially hanging around you. You make it tough sometimes, but I got to talk to my guy IHOP because I got to see if there's some glute because I'm in the glute now. You know what I mean? I'm a glute guy now. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know if I can get some of them glute pancakes. Glute hash browns. Glute sauce. I need to find my glute,
Gluten-free sausage?
I'm trying to find it all, straight. If I invent that, we going to own all the podcasts.
We own a lot. Sedrick Irvin, are you related to Michael Irvin?
Yes, I am, Joseph. I am Michael Irvin. Well, Michael Irvin is my cousin. I'm not his cousin. He's my cousin. And, we got a big family, especially on his side. He's a one of 16 kids, I think. So it's a big family on that side of the ball, man.
Man, there you go. Now everybody knows. It's a fact. Michael Irvin and Cedric Irvin are definitely related, on and off the field. So now it's time. Swerve. Hey, man, listen. Without further ado, let's bring on the one, the only, the best man to ever wear number 79 in Michigan State history, the beast, the incredible bulk. Tony Mandarich joins This Is Sparta. Welcome back to the show, Tony. Look at man, what you curling there? 150s?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I look like Shrek in that picture.
I mean,
You're like, I don't know, 120, something like that. I was just warming up.
warming up with the 120s. Just getting out the car.
That's right. How are you guys doing, man?
Awesome, man. Good to see you. Good. Yeah, football season's here. Tony, I want to ask you, this time of year comes around. I know you haven't played in a while, just like we haven't. But do you still get those butterflies? Do you feel like, it's different when you're getting close to the end of summer and getting into the fall?
Yeah, I mean, I do. And I get excited because football season's starting. I do not miss camp at all. I can tell you that. I would always be like, and I'm sure you guys did this too. When we would get to camp, and then, you'd be stretching at that second practice, getting ready to practice, and you'd look up into the sky and you'd see an airplane at like 40,000 feet, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, would it be nice to be on that airplane right now? It's 90 degrees and it's humid, and you're beat up, you're tired. You've done, 5 days in a row of doubles and hitting every practice, and kind of unlike they do today.
Yeah, unlike they do. I mean, you just described it. You brought up the post-traumatic stress right there, and you talk about getting ready for that second practice. I mean, remember having to buckle up? I mean, that second time of the day after hitting, and you sweat and you go shower, you get something to eat, you're in meetings, try to get a nap in or something. You try, and now you're back in the locker room, suiting back up again, putting those socks on, those cleats and the shoulder pads. I mean, like, what was that like? Can you you're very descriptive with your words. You're very good at that. So just talk about like what it was like back then when you came to Michigan State with George Perlis and guys like that?
Well, I mean, I feel I was very fortunate to be around some incredible coaches. George, Buck Nystrom, Nick Saban, and I don't want to miss anybody else, but everybody was awesome. And they demanded a lot out of you. And, coming from Canada, I was like, I came in like what I thought is over prepared, because I was like, I'm not going to fall behind, because I'm going into an American game as a Canadian. Although I've loved football my whole life, I always came in over prepared. And, and when I remember like those first few hitting days, I was like, you're a freshman. Yeah, I was like, wow, like this is different than Canada. This is big time college football. And, but so it was awesome. But I remember like, after 4 or 5 days of doing that, it's like, it becomes old, right? It becomes routine. And when it's super hot out, I mean, they would even have these big troughs sitting by the entrance of the building off the fields. And they weren't like, they were like big, like probably 12 foot in diameter troughs that you would get at the co-op. And they would fill them with water, and then they would dump all the ice bags in there. And I remember us walking off the field, especially on the second practice, taking our helmets or shoulder pads off, even leaving our pads in our football pants and just taking our shoes off and getting in the trough, because you'll lose 15 to 20 pounds of practice if you're 3+. And that would cool you off. I mean, that was like, we were trying to make, I guess, ice baths popular before it was popular, right? But it would cool you off, and it was intense. I mean, it was mentally intense too, every day, right? Every day, rinse and repeat and doing that. And then you got Buck, yelling at you, and his dentures flying out, those are experiences I wouldn't trade for anything. I would not trade going through that, how hard that was. And it was hard. I would never trade that away for anything, because I think that starts to shape you as a man to start, whether you go on to play at the next level or not. I think it helps you, go from a kid, into a young man.
And the thing about now that pisses me off, Tony, if you go in these locker rooms, I'll never forget when I got to Michigan State, we still had high school lockers, right? You go in today's locker room, these guys got a place for their helmet to for the AC in the helmets. They got a place where they put their cleats outside. They got a place for their shoulder pads to recondition. I mean, it's just the state of the arts. But when we was playing, you had to put all that shit in the same locker and put it back on in the same day with all the sweat that you talked about. And I don't understand why they wouldn't do 2 a days nowadays. So it just pisses me off, you know.
Well, I don't let it piss me off, because I just kind of I kind of giggle about the whole thing. I'm like, because now, like, think about it. How can you make it hard now if you're a player? Like, you can't make it hard, right? It's like there should be some fear in you going into camp, in my opinion. Like, you should be fearful, a healthy fear, of course. But you should be like, what is around the corner? What are they going to make us do tomorrow? And I saw I think it was like last year around this time, they did the launch of the Michigan State locker room, the new locker room, and all redesigned. And I was sitting there looking at it, and I swear to you, I was not jealous at all. Like, they had neon lights and stuff. I was like, that looks more like a club than it does a locker room. I mean, we had cages, right? Our lockers were the high school cages. And like sort of like you were saying, we'd hang our helmets up and our shoulder pads up, and Bob Knickerbocker and his guys would bring out these huge industrial fans to be blowing down, to dry that stuff off. And if you weren't like in line of that fan, half your pads were still sweaty and smelly from the first practice,
Yeah.
So it was, you cannot simulate hard times when you have a Cadillac locker room like that. And I'm not saying don't have a nice locker room, definitely have a better one than we had, but it's like, come on, guys. I mean, and I know it's all recruiting, and all that stuff. I remember seeing Knickerbocker 10 years ago, and he's like showing me all these new helmets and the chrome helmet and this helmet, and I'm like, Bob, what is this? Like, what is going on here? And he laughed, right? And he goes, I'm telling you, it's the first thing. One of the first things recruits ask about is how many different helmets and or uniforms do we have for this coming year? And I was like, we didn't even dare ask a question like that. It was because George would have been like, "You'll get what you get, and you'll shut up and you'll play."
One helmet,
right?
One pair of gloves for 4 years, 5 maybe. That's it.
My gosh, it was like I would have had a better chance getting water in the Sahara than a second set of gloves from Knickerbocker.
Hey, Tony didn't look like he needed them. Man, I mean, do you think that when players, because you're saying this, in so many words, that being fearful, does that allow them to mature a little bit? Does that make them bond? I mean, because when you have shared struggles, usually the team kind of comes together a little better, right?
I mean, that's where the camaraderie is, right? That's what Bill. I mean, you train together, you go through the whole winter off-season program together when people are sleeping in and, regular students are going to school. I mean, you're waking up at 5, 6 a.m., walking through the snow to when we used to go to Jennison Fieldhouse. These are things that separate you from the rest of the students, right? And you're an athlete, but that also builds that closeness and that camaraderie. And then when you're going to doubles in 90-degree weather and humid and two hitting practices a day. And when you do all that together, it still binds you. And then it comes to that point where you're tired of practicing against the guy across from you because you're seeing him every day. But again, that binds you together. And then when it gets to game time, I mean, it's a whole different feeling, right? And then you're pulling for the guy that you've been practicing against, for all of camp. So you cannot now simulate that. Like you can simulate. I mean, I guess you can experience we're in camp together. And you know what? If they don't know what we did, they don't know. Like they'd have nothing to compare to, right? And I'm not saying that we were some, us three were some like really tough guys that could get through anything. I mean, I think there's a lot of harder things in life. Well, maybe Swerve is, but
right,
he's related to Michael Irvin, so you never know.
Fur coats and limousines,
right? But even when we were at camp and when we played, I remember stories about, like when I got to Green Bay, I remember stories of guys talking about Forrest Gregg. Oh my gosh, you should have, when he was the head coach, how much harder it was at Green Bay. And then you think Forrest Gregg was a tough son of a gun now. So when he played, it was even tougher, right? Like they were like, if you had a toothache, it was like, get a pair of pliers, let's pull that thing out, right? And so, it's kind of like all that old school stuff that my parents used to tell me, and or Coach Perlis or Coach Nystrom or Saban would say, and I'd kind of give a little bit of an eye roll, like you guys are old school, old fashioned, old school. The older I get, the more I see that stuff's come true. All those things they said, nothing good happens after midnight. A la George Perlis, right?
Yes. Who drives?
The dummy.
Hey, Tony, it's funny. It's when I say it pisses me off. These guys nowadays, you talk about camaraderie and all that, and these guys don't even stay in the dorms. Like I called my son, I said, "How was practice? What time you gotta go to the dorm?" He's like, "Dad, I'm going to my house." And it's funny when you talk about that. I remember times because what the dorms did for us, you get the guys together, come in your class, everybody show their high school highlight film, everybody tell lies because they were the best at their high school, the best from their city, But the one thing I can remember where if a guy was sleeping and it was, it's late or whatever it is, you wake him up, you build that brotherhood and that friendship and that you can count on me type of deal. And, these guys don't even have that. They don't have the dorms where everybody stays in the dorm. And when you talk about fear, I can remember when we was there as freshmen and then the older guys came, they want to cut bald heads and do all that senior shit and, had us running and hiding. It was all fun and games, but it's none of that no more.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't and that was the easy part, right? Like that's like going in the dorm at night, and what we say at Case Hall, right across the facility.
Yes.
Case. Right? And it was like that's the easiest part of the day. And you're still, like you said, you're still building camaraderie there, and like you said, everybody's telling you how great they were and they were all conference and all this and all that. And I'd be like, yeah, I was all Canada and everything. And we don't have film in Canada, so I can't show you, right?
Yeah, that's like Billy Green. Billy Green, he was all lacrosse. He was all this and that, better than his brother. Billy, I'm tired of hearing that shit.
But yeah, I mean, and there, I think healthy fear is good. I think it's good. You can't simulate fear, right? You either, when you have it, it's going to define whether you have bravery to face it. You cannot train for bravery. You know what I'm saying? It's like bravery only comes out when you're in a situation, and that's the only time you can find out what you're made of.
Man, that's something, when you talk about fear, I remember, the conditioning test that, Nick said. I mean, not many schools even do, they don't really do them anymore. They don't do conditioning tests anymore.
That's incredible.
Tell us if you can remember what kind of running tests you used to have to do at Michigan State or Green Bay in lifting, if you had to do something.
Well, yeah. Michigan State, we had to do the fat guys, right? The linemen. We had to do a mile. I want to say it was a mile and a mile and a half in 6 minutes 45 seconds. I think it was.
That would have been a mile.
That would have been a mile.
Hell no. 6:45. Hell no. Tony, you crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Only person can do some shit like that when you talk about fear, not to cut you off, and I'll never forget this. Somebody told me, hey, just keep up. Coach Williams, keep up with Nigel Carter. Shit, Nigel Carter ran circles around me.
I'd be like saying, keep up with Andre Rison. Yeah, right. But they would run us in the groups, right? So we would have that test. But I mean, look, I trained like you guys. I trained my butt off. I would over prepare for the test. And I would always question, like, why are they running the big guys for distance? It just doesn't make sense. But I was like, look, I don't run the pro. Coaches coach, players play, right? But I would always get within 5 seconds of the deadline or of the time, right? And I'd be training my butt off. And I don't care how good a training you do for conditioning. When you get to camp and you get the 2 days hitting, it's a different kind of conditioning.
Yes.
It's just different. And you cannot simulate that to prepare for camp. And then the weightlifting, they would do, I think they actually did a maximum bench, which is not really the smartest thing to do because you can get injured, right? At a max bench. Yeah. So, I always did fair on those things.
Yeah. Hey, fair. What was the number? What was your max? And I think I remember seeing it on the record.
It was 585. I mean, Jesus. Which is not 600 now. I mean, 600 is getting smart. But but I'll tell you what's funny. I find this amusing. Okay. I remember Dave Henry, our strength coach, good guy. Yeah. I remember him saying, that number will never come off the board, right? Like from where they put everybody's bench up. And I'd be like, oh, somebody's going to come and get it for sure, right? And all this and all that. And I came back to Michigan State in 2015 for our 25-year anniversary for the Rose Bowl. And they had some guy up there who had benched 545, right? And his name up there. And I was like thinking, oh, maybe somewhere my name is still up there. They took it down. They could have at least left it up with an asterisk beside it.
Right? I mean, man, like now, Sedrick can attest to this. You go around to these schools and see, the guys that are on the leaderboard. There's barely any guys in the force.
I know.
In college football, SEC, Big Ten,
Yeah.
it's rare.
Yeah,
They don't do it.
and it's amazing how, it's amazing to me how big some of these athletes are. The linemen, they're big. Like I mean, when I left Michigan State, went into the NFL, 6'6", 315, they were like, oh my gosh, this guy's ginormous, he's huge and all this. And in the NFL, you had Fridge, who was over 300. Then you had probably maybe 4 or 5 other guys. And then myself. And then, you go 10 years later, everybody's a 300-pounder. And not everybody was doing the asterisk either, right? Like, I mean, most people were not doing the asterisk. I mean, my asterisk days stopped when I entered the NFL. But it was that was a mistake on my part. 100% mistake on my part, and I own that. But
that you quit?
That I quit the asterisk.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
When I did that, people started calling me a quitter, right? So I was like, you can't
raise no quitter.
You cannot please anybody these days, right? It's like they crucify you for doing it, and then you stop and they call you a quitter.
Supposed to just take it, have tough skin. Speaking of something, we have a question here. Tony, who was a Green Bay head coach and GM when you were drafted in '89?
It was Lindy Infante was the head coach, and Tom Bratz was the GM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I think we have a video that you posted recently on TikTok. It was awesome, with you with the Sports Illustrated magazine. Let's see if we have it here.
Do you believe that's me? 36 years ago? Wow. Haven't read the article in 30 years. Big enchilada. I like enchiladas. Can't afford 2 grocery carts now. Can't do squats anymore. Knees are all busted up. If I ate that much now, I'd be 400 pounds. Who are these guys? Troy Aikman, Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, Deion Sanders. I think I remember Deion Sanders. Hopefully this will make a happy fan. Go Spartans, go Packers, go Colts.
Awesome.
Tony, listen. Tony.
I think I remember Deion Sanders.
You think so?
Tony.
Yes,
boy,
sir.
if we was friends back then, with Case Hall. Case Hall, baby. You'd have been at the front door. I would have been at the back door. Case Hall, baby.
If we were friends back then, you and I might be in C block right now.
Rock boss. That's right. That's right. Dooley sensations. You don't know. You didn't experience that. Swerve, Dooley's and sensations.
Yeah. Or Silver Dollar Saloon was the best.
Oh my God.
Silver Dollar, right?
Yeah, those places. Troy Aikman was picked before you, and then no one else. That was it in the 1989 draft.
Troy. And, Dallas was desperate for a quarterback, and they needed one, and that makes total sense, right? I mean, if Dallas has an established quarterback, then obviously and not necessarily are they going to take me, but they could have took Barry, they could have took anybody else for any other position. But, I think the draft order was correct. Like the teams got what they wanted, right? Except you just had I was kind of shooting myself in the foot for 5 years there when I was in Green Bay. And then even 2 years after being in Green Bay after I left, after they kicked me out, I should say, until I got sober. I mean, I was sabotaging myself.
Mm. Yeah. So what do you think made you make those decisions there? Like when you were just kind of, the Green Bay experiment?
It was, I had been off of the asterisk.
Yeah.
That's a new nickname for it now. I like it. I think I might get a T-shirt that just has an asterisk on it, so people ask, "What's that?" I had kind of replaced one chemical, the asterisk, with the chemical of alcohol and prescription painkillers, and it almost went to an abusive use of those things in a matter of less than a month. It being in Green Bay. So my head was like, it was never clear. It was always foggy, but I thought it was clear, right? It was always foggy. And that went on till, I left December of 92 was the last time I've been in Green Bay. And that lasted till March 23rd of 95 when I walked into a treatment center in Brighton, Michigan and met God in Detroit.
Same place that Eminem went.
Is that the same place you went?
Marshall Mathers. That's right.
Yeah. So,
got straight.
Yes, and by God's grace, have not had to go back out to test the waters or anything.
Well, that is a blessing.
But then look, when I see when that happens, I have no aspiration to go back and play football. I want nothing to do with football. I'm done. I just want a nice, simple life. Mm-hmm. And 6-7 months later, I've been working out. I got sober, started working out again. And I was working out just because I've been working out my whole life. I wasn't working out to be an offensive lineman. But, in 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I was starting, I went from 255 to 295. And I was feeling good and I was feeling strong. I was probably 85% of my strongest ever and not taking any kind of chemicals. And then, it's like one of those moments you have at the gym and it's like you want to take a hammer and hit yourself in the head and go, why did you ever take them in the first place? Right? You didn't need them. Right. So, and then I was like, you know what? There was a lot of wrongs I did in the NFL that still can be corrected. Not necessarily for me, but for the game and for the fans. And there was a lot of things that I couldn't correct no matter what, just because of the situation that it was. So I was like, well, you know what, maybe I'll try to come back. And, obviously it has to start with a workout from somebody. And I had burned all the bridges, so that wasn't looking good, but Philly gave me a chance, had a good workout. And then Indianapolis got rumor of the workout. And then Indy called and flew me down the next day and worked out for them and then signed with them. So I was very grateful for that.
That's what's up. So Tony, let's get to the point here. I know we got to go with you. What do you think the Spartans would do this year?
Do you want my politically correct answer?
No. Hell no. I don't want no political. I don't want to make people happy. I don't want to whirl no feathers. Not on this show. Not on this show. We want it 100, authentic, keeping it real.
I'll give you my true feelings. And this is not personal to anybody at Michigan State. I think they're going to go 6-5. 6 and 6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
6 and 6. I think they'll go 6 and 6, which will make them eligible for a bowl game, right? Which means they'll go to a bowl game that nobody watches. And I just don't think the right leadership is there. That's just my opinion. And again, that's not a personal thing against anybody. It's just from what I see and from what I hear. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they go 12-0.
I agree with you. You just said a minute ago that you believe you're betting the over, right? I think Vegas has the line set at 5.5. You're going with 6.
I'm right there with Tony. When I did mine, because I already did my research and my homework, I said 6 and 6 too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is the sophomore year for the coach, right? So,
yeah.
There has to be a big move this year. There has to be some things that impress. And, teams like Western Michigan, you guys, especially because I've ranted way too much to you guys about this. You guys know how I feel about playing teams like that. And that's no disrespect to Western Michigan or to Youngstown State in the third game, right? That's no disrespect to those teams. You should play teams that are better than you or as good as you, as far as like Division I recruiting and all that stuff, because we played USC and beat them at home. We played Florida State and they wiped us all over Spartan Stadium, 31-3. We went down to Notre Dame and they wiped us all over South Bend, 31-3. And then we won out to win the Big Ten championship. And then we played USC again in the Rose Bowl and won. When I played against Florida State and when I played against Notre Dame, when I say me personally, let alone our team, I could see the level of competition, how good these guys were. And I personally took it upon myself. I need to raise my game. And, and that was already, I was going in my 4th year. So I already knew what was expected and what was demanded. But both Florida State and Notre Dame that year were ranked in the top 6 or 7 when we played them. And you could see why, because they beat us 31-3, right? And when you play Western, if you beat them 28-0 or 35-0, you're supposed to beat them 35-0. If it's a close game and you win, you've kind of lost morally. And if they win, don't give schools that opportunity to put. Don't play Appalachian State. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ann Arbor doesn't like App State,
Right. We love them.
Right. We love them, but you know what I mean, to my point.
Yeah.
And, and those, again, I'm excited that it's football season. I'm always a Spartan. I love Spartans and I love our school. But I'm not overly excited about what we got going on there right now. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm totally wrong, because I will gladly come back on here in 5 months and say, oh my gosh, are these guys awesome? I was totally wrong.
Hey, listen, we hear it a lot. And people, I think our fan base is so passionate that they want to protect the situation that we're in. And they think that anybody that says anything negative, or in this instance, it's just real talk.
Yeah.
You are not against us at Michigan State. I'm not against Michigan State in any way. People think that when we tell the truth, that it means that it's a slight against coach. Someone, I think Joseph Ayers just said, hey, Jonathan Smith is a good coach. It's going to take some time. He inherited a complete mess. Now, there is no one in the country that says that Jonathan Smith is not a good coach. We're around. We go to different colleges, campuses, with our sons when recruiting. This is the era that we're in right now, and everybody says that about it.
Right.
But what you're referring to is the fit in East Lansing. That's all.
Yeah.
Because it's a unique place.
Yes.
Guys that that are born and raised in the West Coast and they've coached in the West Coast. It's a different way of coaching the game. I've had great kids that are out on the West Coast of California players, and I've talked to Ohio State coaches about them, and they say, we don't take those soft-ass pussies from California. They say that, like, for players. Now,
did you say that on a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we can say it, baby. We can say whatever we want. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I don't have to be politically correct anymore. Not at all. Shit, my Saturdays are a lot different now. A lot different. So we can say what we want to say on here.
I love it.
100%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Jason, you played under Nick, right?
Yes.
And
1 year, Nick for 4.
And then what about Stray? Nick, was Nick the head coach?
For Swerve the whole time. Swerve.
Okay, that's what I'm sorry. I should have said Swerve. So you guys know Nick.
Oh, yeah.
So before you guys are getting ready to go to camp, is there a little bit of fear in you?
Oh, nothing but fear.
With Nick as head coach?
A little bit.
I think going way back now, one of the biggest errors, unforced errors, Michigan State made was not giving Nick what he was asking for when he was the head coach for resources to recruit and to bring people there. Those people on the board or whoever are those people, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't buy into his system. of building culture and building young men. And he was saying, look, we're going to win. And they did. But what was really coming ended up happening at LSU and Alabama. That could have been Michigan State. And that was an unforced error. You know?
Yes. Administration a lot of times gets in the way in East Lansing.
Yes.
It does. That's a fact. You can take that to the bank. It's been historical. I've heard that, but we've seen it time and time again, over and over. And it's a shame. You know, you talk about one of the greatest, arguably the greatest college coach of all time.
I don't know who I would say is better. Like, I really don't. I mean, there's a lot of them in that bucket. There's no doubt. Look, Bear Bryant, I was when Nick got hired to Alabama, I was like, he's got big shoes to fill, because I could imagine that Alabama fans are expecting out of him more than they expected out of Bear Bryant. And you know what? 10 years later, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, he's actually gonna make them forget Bear Bryant. Not literally, but they're gonna be like all Nick, right? And I mean, so I just have so much mad respect for what he's done. You guys know, like, this is nice because I'm talking to two guys that know, because I share this with people when they ask. Nick, and you guys tell me if you agree with this or not. Nick is the same now as he was back then, except now he's famous.
Yes.
The discipline, keep it simple, fundamentals, do your job, block your guy, run the right route, do the right check. It's all simple stuff. And he was that same guy when he was a DB coach when I was there, and then he went to the Browns, and then when you guys played, he was head coach at State. So you guys saw it firsthand, and I would say he's the same guy, except of course a little bit more refined over the decades. But now he's an untouchable as far as getting to him. I want to call Nick and say, hey, Merry Christmas, but there's no getting to Nick now, right? There's like 10 people filtering between me and Nick. And I'm like, remember me? You recruited me from Canada? Remember me?
Oh man, he'd take your call. You kidding me? Tony Mandarich, he brags about that. Finding you. I think you got him on the map.
Tony, it's funny you say, he kept it the same. I had a chance and opportunity to coach with him for 2 years down there in Alabama. And the same practice schedule that we had when I was a player for him in Michigan State, he had the same practice schedule at Alabama. The thing that changed at Alabama, he had a couple more zeros to his salary. I used to ask him, they go to the movies. Anytime it was a night game, they'll go to the movies. I said, well, shit, we had night games. You never take us to no damn movie, you know what I mean? But the same meal, the same pasta, the same steak, the same chicken, all that shit, the breakfast, all that was still the same, many years later. So, yeah.
He was recently, I saw an interview with him, I want to say it was within the last 6 months. And he was asking about, or somebody had asked him about, where did that winter running program originate? And he was like, Michigan State. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's where it started, Michigan State. And I was like, did he just say Michigan State? And I was like, were we the guinea pigs for that thing? They were running us to death, right? But I was like, I'm sitting here by myself watching that, and I'm like all proud. I'm like, this is awesome, exactly. Right? Exactly. It's like, because that stuff spreads, because how many schools will go to Alabama and just kind of, other coaches will watch what they do. Maybe not teams in the SEC, but in other leagues, and they'll be like, okay, let's start doing what they're doing it this way because it makes sense. And same with the winter running. All these colleges started doing the winter running, and that all originated from Michigan State and also included Buck Nystrom. And I think it really, really, really originated from Northern Michigan in the UP. But regardless, now I see why it was so hard to do, because it does breed success,
That's right. That's right. I mean, Nick was really about, making sure that if you're going to play in the North Atlantic, you had to practice in the North Atlantic. And you had that nice, beautiful indoor facility, but shit, even for the guys from Miami, Dade County, like Sedrick, Swerve, and Irvin, we practice outside when it's snowing, sleet, hail, all that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the conditions that he put you through, and it's about mental toughness, you know.
I wish the portal was back there. All the
Oh my God. I don't care about the portal. I wish the NIL was back then.
Oh man, Tony, what do you think? Like, if Tony Mandarich is playing today in college football at Michigan State, like what kind of a number would you command?
I wouldn't have. I tell you what, I wouldn't have went to the pros. I would have went for a 6th and 7th year of eligibility in college, because I think I would have made more money in college.
Right. You know, you were the first offensive lineman to crack $1 million in the NFL in history.
Yeah.
And now you see college players making more.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I think the college NIL does need a cap. Like, I think Arch Manning might be making $8 million. And then the guy from the quarterback that went to Ann Arbor, he's making a ton of money. Like, I think you need to cap it maybe at $5 million, which is still, think about it. It's like, hey guys, you know, even 10 years ago, you never even had the NIL. So don't complain about us putting a cap on it. The other thing is with the portal's the cancer. It's not so much the NIL, it's the portal is the cancer. If you transfer, you can play right away, but you don't get 1 full year of NIL money. Do you know how much people would stop transferring?
Yeah.
99%.
That's what we hear. People aren't really upset. They say NIL is killing football, but it's really the transfer portal. When you really drill down to it, that's what they don't like.
Yeah.
The moving around, you know, because it's hard. You don't know who's going to be playing for your team from year to year right now. But
and you can't build culture. You know, you cannot build like that. Look what Nick, like that's why Nick left college football. He's like, I don't want to be part of this, and I don't blame him. And you know, I mean, I would say he's probably financially stable. So,
you think that ESPN's paying him?
Right. Can you imagine? But my prediction is within 12 months, he'll be coaching an NFL team.
NFL?
Yep.
Nick Saban?
Yep.
Man.
Yep. That's my prediction.
I don't know if Miss Terry's going to let him.
Now, I think if he coach again, is college, because one thing I learned about Nick, he won't control of everything.
Yeah.
Everything. That's one thing I learned. He got to have control of every fucking thing. And that's the thing that was at the Dolphins. You're not going to be able to control these NFL guys, especially nowadays. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Look, if he does go back to college, God, can you imagine if he went to East Lansing? If he went to East Lansing, I would move back to East Lansing just to watch practice and be like, you guys are going to now suffer.
Popcorn. All the former players around there. Run them, Nick. Run them.
Right?
Chew their asses out.
Hey, I'll stand on the field. I'll stand on the field as a pylon if they want me to, right? Just run around me.
Oh, man. No, this is great. You know, I know we got to run, you know, but this is awesome. Listen, we got to bring you back on to talk about the season as it continues to go on this season.
Anytime, guys.
President, third partner, this is Sparta MSU, Tony Mandarich. Thanks again for coming on, man. Hey, always a pleasure. And
I appreciate you guys. I mean, I love you guys, and I love Michigan State, and this is the only Spartan podcast I do. And so yeah, anytime you guys need me, just give me a call.
100%.
My man.
My man. All right, the great Tony. All right, brother, man.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Hey, to answer Joseph's question, I didn't think about going to the U because my high school coach went to the U after my junior year to be the running back coach. And I was a fullback in high school. He was the only coach out of 47 offers was recruiting me to play fullback. So I didn't even visit UM.
The only one. That's crazy. Hey, Swerve, man, listen, I mean, it's always great to have Tony Mandarich on, man. That was great. What's your final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just know we're live this Thursday. I got my drone. Tony took us a little longer, but the drone is full. We got footage. We got ideas. We got content. We got it all. So make sure you tell a friend that know some other friends. Tune in, like, and subscribe, and know that Stray and Swerve is giving it to you raw and authentic.
All day long. Ashriel, we would love to talk more about this. She said she got some guarantees. Hey, Jay McCann, he's talking about Canadian Fires. We don't know what the fuck we're going to do about Canadian Fires on this show, brother. But listen, I hear you. All right. Also, there were some questions we didn't answer with Tony. We'll get those done another time. But everybody, listen, thank you for joining us. For Cedric Irvin, I'm Jason Strayhorn. And Tony Mandarich, man, such thanks to him. This is Sparta MSU. Everybody have a good night. God bless you. Go green.
Go white.